Hello and welcome to the Village Voice. I am your host, Realtor Kathy Smith. Welcome. You know, the last few weeks have been a very interesting time in our global history. But the performing arts have stepped up to help us through our quarantine period. For example, the Met is having encore performances of their operas in a streaming format. And Broadway has not disappointed either. Andrew Lloyd Webber is actually streaming some of his theatrical performances also on the web. And I also heard that Hamilton the movie will be out this summer. So in honor of the performing arts, it is one of my true passions besides real estate. I donned my concert black and I have invited two of my directors here to join me. So welcome to, let me bring them all up here. So welcome to Dr. John Ross from the Charlotte Pride Band and Peter Leo from Carolina Voices. So it is a thrill to see you guys.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you for the invitation, Kathy.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to jump right into it. So Obviously I see you guys on a nearly weekly basis. So this is actually making me feel kind of good being able to see you. But for the folks that are not familiar with your organizations, can you tell them a little bit about like your different organizations, like Carolina Voices, Pete, and tell us a little bit about you?
Sure. So Carolina Voices is a local community organization, choral organization in Charlotte area, and is one of the oldest in the town, founded in 1954. And you may have heard of us because of our Singing Christmas Tree, which I have the great privilege of conducting. We would be doing our 66th Singing Christmas Tree annual event production this coming December. And so, it is a really exciting group. We're a very diverse group of singers, 3 ensembles, and members from all over the metropolitan area. That's me. I'm originally from Chicago. Go Cubs. But we've been down here in North Carolina for 12 years and enjoying it.
That's awesome. And we're so thrilled to have you. Now, Dr. Ross, please, or should I say John, tell us all about you and the Charlotte Pride Band.
Well, the Charlotte Pride Band is about to turn 10 years old. And before the pandemic hit, we had a really special performance that was going to be held to commemorate our 10th anniversary and to celebrate Don Niehaus, who is one of the founding members. So that will happen in the fall when we come back, because it will still be our 10th anniversary. The Charlotte Pride Band is comprised of LGBTQ people from all over the area and the region, and it's also comprised with straight allies. Our mission is to be all-inclusive. When you think of high schools and colleges, most high schools and colleges have band programs. And we provide an outlet for people to continue to play, regardless of what their profession is or how long it's been since they've played. A certain flute player comes to mind. And we take people from different ability levels too, because we believe that we learn from each other and we build together as a community. We perform in the Charlotte Pride Parade every year. We won't this year because unfortunately it was canceled. But we perform 4 times a year, and the band is doing very well. We have a wonderful following. The home of the band is Park Road Baptist Church, and Russ Dean is our host, and he's fantastic, and we love being there. And we rehearse at the John Crosland School, and we love being there, and David is our host there, which is wonderful. I'm from Michigan. I have multiple degrees from schools in Michigan, including Olivet College, Michigan State, and the University of Michigan. So I don't have any conflict internally. I just, when I go home, I wear all the Michigan colors, so I'm a Michigan chameleon.
You're covering all the bases, I see. And yes, for those of you who may not be familiar with that little comment that John made, when people talk about, their median ages in the group, several of the players, are under, let's say 35 or so. And I believe my first comments to you, John, as you auditioned for the role of artistic director was, so I haven't played for 34 years. And most of you in this room have been alive less time than I actually haven't played flute. So it's a very welcoming community. And I echo what you say in regards to the skill levels, because in both groups, Carolina Voices as well as the Charlotte Pride Band, we have some professional musicians in there, music teachers, to folks that, haven't decided to sing or play a flute for a million years, which, by the way, did you notice I have mine right here behind me?
Strategically placed, I see. And I wanted to mention, in the Charlotte Pride Band, we have some current band directors. We have some retired band directors. We have some band directors to be because they're in college. We have a lot of people that have different kinds of professions, but they played when they were in high school and college. And we also have one or two high school students that also play with us. So we truly are all inclusive.
And that is interesting because we do come from various walks of life. And the one, common thread between us in both of these groups is music. So John, can you walk us through, like, before the pandemic, before all this stuff hit, what kind of things would the Charlotte Pride Band be doing? And maybe even tell us some of the types of music that we perform.
Well, we were working on, the last show was a Broadway show, which was terrific. So we had Phantom, we had other wonderful things that we played at Park Road Baptist Church, and we love being there. It's a wonderful place to perform. And all of the people there are terrific to work with. We rehearsed on Thursday evenings from 7 until 9 at the John Crosland School. And we have a wonderful librarian who does all of the music for us. And if you play an instrument and you would like to come and join us, we would love to have you come and join. We don't know when we will start rehearsing again. We're waiting to hear from the governor, of course, for that, and other people. But we are all very excited about getting back because making music is what we're here to do. And the three of us here in this chat, that's what we have in common. For a lot of people, words don't express the feelings that we have that are deep and meaningful and special. Music does. Music really is the only true universal language. I've had the chance to guest conduct in multiple countries, Romania, China, Japan. I've been in London. And I've noticed that regardless of the dialect, the country, the language, the culture, music is always something that brings people together.
It truly does. And, I don't know why, but this quote from Voltaire, of all people, came into my head. And I think it's a good segue. Voltaire said that anything that is too stupid to be said can be sung. Like do 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 do. So, it truly is a quote from Voltaire.
Have you seen Candide?
Yeah.
Yep.
There was no on Voltaire's quote, but Pete, let's flip it over to you.
Sure.
So let's talk about, as far as like Carolina Voices typical schedule, because we've got all these groups going on and different performances and rehearsals and stuff. So what would a typical year at Carolina Voices be looking like?
Well, thanks. I would also echo, like Dr. Ross suggested, Carolina Voices is a volunteer organization. And so with a lot of variety of people with a lot of different backgrounds, it's really an approach for us to provide a variety of different performances and access to a lot of different vocal music. The Singing Christmas Tree, which Kathy sings on, and the Main Stage Groups does a Pops and Broadway type of show in the spring. Of course, the holiday music in the fall and through Christmas time, and then either a holiday, like a Broadway or Pops type show in the spring. We have our festival singers directed by Donna Hill, and they are a 32-voice chamber choir doing all kinds of a cappella and traditional choral music, but also contemporary choral music. If you're familiar with the Eric Whitaker and some of his contemporaries, there are a lot of great new works that are coming out now. Just worked with a new composer, Elaine Hagenberg, and had her join into one of our Zoom sessions recently, which was a really neat treat to have her. And then John Quillen directs our 16-voice impromptu a cappella group. And if you're familiar with pentatonics, they're that style of a cappella. And among a few groups in Charlotte, and very, very fine. All of them are volunteer singers. And like the Pride Band, I think there's a number of professional teachers, professional musicians, as well as certainly the amateur for the love of the art that are participating in that. And I think what we enjoy doing is bringing people together. Singing is such a wonderful art form for people without experience, much prior experience and training, to be able to join in, add their voices to the mix. We do hold auditions, but we really do welcome any of you out there that be listening to this and thinking, gosh, I used to sing choir back way, or even just a few years ago. Love to sing again. Stay tuned to our website so that we can connect with you. And when auditions come up again, we'll be eager to hear your voice and meet you.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, these two groups, I really find that this is my home, so to speak, because there's such wonderful people there, and we're always encouraging and lifting others up. I'm finding that in both groups that, our section leaders and just random folks really, are encouraging each of us with our own art. But right now is a weird time because we're not able to get together. We're not able to do the things that we absolutely love. And we find this separation. So maybe we could, talk a little bit about kind of what we're doing here in the interim to get us through until we get back together. So Pete, we'll throw it over to you.
Thanks. We had to postpone our 3 spring concerts for each of those 3 ensembles I mentioned. And we've needed to postpone our June summer camp. So I neglected to say earlier that we're not just for adults, but Carolina Voices does summer camps for children, I'll say early elementary through middle school age. And we typically do a June, a July, and an August camp. And certainly we've had to postpone the June camp, hopefully to August. We've got a second camp in August at the moment, and we're just hopeful that we can continue to hold those camps this summer as we wait for, the health officials to give more direction, and government officials to give more direction on that. But we've, in this time, we had back at the end of April, our festival singers did a virtual concert. We took some videos of past concerts, combined them together, did a little live interview with a composer I mentioned before, and then added the director, giving some kind of feedback, background, if you will, on each of the pieces, which was really well received. It was a fun project to work on. We are in the process of putting together virtual choirs, a little bit different than a virtual concert, but pre-recording of individuals combining all together. It's a pretty massive undertaking in terms of the technology behind it, but we're working on 2 of those right now with the other 2 choirs. And we're spending time, being the social people that singers are. We're spending time on Zoom and connecting socially with one another and doing some educational things with that. But really just trying to, lift the spirits of those who are quarantined and feeling, alone.
Well, yeah, and I'll attest to our little Zoom sessions because we have our rehearsals on Tuesdays, and Matt Henson, who's the assistant director, he's taken this time to kind of educate us in different aspects of music. So it's not just social hour, even though I'm sure there's lots of wine flowing behind the scenes. You know, got to have a drink once in a while. But no, we're learning more things. Like last night, we actually delved into some music theory. And it was really, I mean, to me, it's fascinating, all the different aspects. I'm so busy of jumping into, you know, making music and not really stepping back and learning about the process. So I tell you what, I'll take it over to John. So John, as far as the Pride Band, what are you guys kind of gearing up for over there?
Well, I like the thoughts that were just mentioned, especially the virtual choir idea that Eric Whitaker capitalized on years ago. And he has virtual, I think he has the 6th one coming out, and there's thousands and thousands of people that have already entered that with their videos. One of the interesting things that I find during this time is we have time that we never usually have. As musicians, we're very busy. When we're not rehearsing, we're studying, we're driving to rehearsals, we're teaching, we're leading meetings. The conductors in schools tend to be the leaders of the schools in certain ways, which is good because we bring people together. So some of the things that have been interesting during this time is we've been reflecting and making plans for the future. Something that was going to happen in our final concert in May, was May 16th is the date of the concert was going to be. We were going to perform a world premiere that was written for us by American composer Terrell Cordes, called A Place We Call Home. And this piece was commissioned by and written for the 10th anniversary of the Charlotte Pride Band. And it was also written for Don Niehaus, who is kind of our patron saint and one of the founding members of the band, who we all adore. And we look forward very much to performing that as soon as we come back, whenever that's going to be. That's going to be a very meaningful moment as we celebrate our 10th anniversary, which is a huge milestone for our organization. A lot of our ensemble members have been meeting via Zoom. Zoom has been the thing. You know, 2 months ago, I didn't even know what Zoom was, and now I'm proficient. So a lot of our members in the Charlotte Pride Band, they've been meeting for Zoom happy hours and Zoom practice sessions, and I think it's great because a big part of our mission in the Charlotte Pride Band is not just to perform as a family, but to interact and lift each other up and celebrate each other's differences, because the world would be a better place if we all did this. And what better way to do that than through music?
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, it's, for me, I'm discovering how much I need them, my fellow singers and my fellow flautists, that, you know, I can make music on my own, but I realize I make it much better with others around me. I mean, besides the fact that kind of have my flute playing, but I'm just saying that I use my ears so much with the other musicians to make that performance that much better. And just practicing here at home is very difficult because I'm missing that interaction. But I will say, though, on the flute Zoom, because we get together on Thursday nights, like our regular rehearsal night, I've lost count of how many kittens we have, because 2 of our flautists have cats that have just blown up. Then we have 2 new babies on the way that have just been announced in the last week or so. So human babies, not just cats. But it's so wonderful to stay connected with them. And as you know, we're kind of a cohesive oddball group, the flutes that we are, but that's kind of how we roll.
No, you're not oddballs at all. But I have a prediction, though. I really do, that when we come back, whenever that is, and however that is going to look, 2 things I think will be different in our culture. Number one, parents will have a renewed sense of appreciation for teachers, because parents have had the opportunity lately to step up and be their children's teachers, or at least make sure they follow through with assignments. And I think parents will really have a really good appreciation for what teachers do. And the second is, when we all come back together, we will have a greater sense of appreciation for each other, because music and making music is all about people. It's not about a performance. It's not about a trophy or a medal or whatever. It is about the spontaneous interaction through music to touch people's lives. And I'm also missing that, but I think when we come back together, we will all have a greater sense of appreciation for each other and every person's unique contribution that they bring to the table.
I think you need to schedule an extra 30 minutes for that, because I think there are going to be a lot of hugs going on, because that's just the way we all roll. I found it interesting that during what's that, Pete?
I didn't say anything.
I just said, I'm a hugger. It was me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Well, it's been interesting to me because as talking through all these things on Zoom and getting to know each other a little more deeply, is I'm finding out the kinds of musicians they are. It's like everybody has the false pretense, I think, that all singers are divas and that we all want to be soloists on the stage. And I guess it was the week before last, I think, that Carrie Anderson was on, and she said, my dream would be to back up for James Taylor, that she's an ensemble singer and that's all she wants to be. And that's just beautiful. Yeah. So if anybody out there has connection to James Taylor, please help us out here. We need to make this happen. But in the interim, let's talk about a little bit about how can people help these organizations, because obviously we're all community based, we're volunteers, and that having those ticket sales. I mean, because I saw something recently, it was the Boston Pops had a projection of how the heck they would hold their first concert, and here to having 25% of the audience in the house. It was literally very few seats, and they had the orchestra, the strings and the percussion on the stage, and then woodwinds and brass on two opposite sides in one of the balconies, and all of them spaced out. And, the bottom line was that even though this could be theoretically done, it wouldn't ring the register. It wouldn't, bring them the profit that they need to survive. So if someone like the Boston Pops is talking about that, let's talk about our organizations here. How can people help us make it through this pandemic period and get us back on stage again? Let's start with you, Pete.
Well, I like the sentiment of what it means to be together, and certainly as we look forward to that day when we can rejoin our voices together, we're excited for that. And I think in the meantime, we're trying to imagine ways that we can be creative. Carolina Voices really wants to support our community. We love being a voice for the voiceless. And in several social justice type endeavors we've engaged with over the past years, we want to continue to do that. And we're just going to have to find ways to do that virtually, as well as ways that we do it in person. In support of Carolina Voices, certainly go to our website, www.carolinavoices.org, and certainly support the mission of our organization. Come and be a part of what we do. We'll be transmitting various experiences in the coming months, I'm sure, virtually, and spread the word. Share those with others, so that we can be a part of enriching the community that way. And again, as soon as we are able to do so, we'll hold auditions again and welcome, I hope, a slew of new singers. Just a great company of new voices to the ranks of our choirs.
I would love to see over 100 people tree. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. So John, about the Charlotte Pride Band, and how do you see, like, how people can help, and kind of like what's our future look like as far as moving forward post COVID-19?
Well, charlotteprideband.org is our website, and I would encourage everyone that's viewing to go and check it out. It's a really nice, comprehensive website that has been put together by our board president, Tommy Hudnall, and it did a great job putting it together. Of course, attending our performances, bringing your friends, bringing your family, supporting us with donations, but also sharing your ideas. What kind of music would you like to hear us play? And what ideas do you have? I've been the artistic director now for 2 years, and I can't even begin to tell you how impressed and proud I am of the ensemble because of how much we've grown as a family, as a musical ensemble, as a group of people and musicians with a common goal. The technical and musical abilities of the ensemble has grown beautifully. Very happy with that. Something I'm really proud of is our audience following. We have a wonderful following of people who provide an incredible audience. They're very excited. In the summer, as I mentioned earlier, we perform in the Charlotte Pride Parade, and we also perform several pop-up performances on the Sunday after the Saturday's parade. This year we won't be doing that because it was canceled, but that was a really great way to reach out to the community. Just a few ideas that I have. I would like the Charlotte Pride Band to become really well known in Charlotte as an artistic, classy, musical, really incredibly inclusive ensemble. I see us hopefully in the future performing at really major events because band music is so diverse, and we can play and there's just so much potential with our ensemble. Regardless of the age of the person in the group, every single person brings a great amount of potential to the ensemble. That's why I'm still with Charlotte Pride Band. I live in Boone, so I drive 4 hours.
Yes.
Every Thursday, and it's worth it.
Yeah.
By the time I finally arrive at the rehearsal, I'm excited. By the time the rehearsal ends, I'm even more excited because the energy of the group has excited me. By the time I'm about an hour out from home, I'm pretty tired, but I usually make it. But it's a wonderful organization, and I love every second working with them.
So I guess, John, what you're saying is I need to go ahead and buy myself a marching flute or another like outdoor flute.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think I see that coming up in my future.
Good.
But man, I can't thank you enough for coming on, and it actually kind of makes my week seem kind of normal seeing both of your faces again. I just, to not be able to see this face and say, okay, it's time for me to do something and make some music. It's so weird not to see you. And by the way, while you were talking, let's see if I can pop this up here because I'm trying to do the chat thing, which I don't know if I'd say hazing is a flute from a flautist, but Matt, one of my fellow flautists, just told me that he has 4 kittens available. This is our world, guys. But seriously though, I really thank you guys so much for being here, and I cannot wait for that moment when we all get back together on that stage and make some awesome music.
Oh yeah,
and
we are missing each other, and we are missing our audience. Absolutely,
we are. Yeah. We're missing our audience.
I think we'll all have to have some tissues.
But Kathy, I want to mention that music is the human heart. And you can practice your flute, and you can practice your vocal technique, and you can make music. And whenever you want to send me a recording and have me listen and give some feedback, I'd love to do that. I have a lot of people that do that. And I just got off of a clarinet lesson via Zoom, which was wonderful. There's, our possibilities are only limited by our imagination, and music is the human heart.
I love that. That is awesome. And you know, the interesting thing is a little sidebar here that, you know, Pete sees a whole different side of me than you do, John. You both have to deal with my goofiness, but where Pete kind of has to pull me back and say, okay, that's enough singing, Kath. Lower, you know, get a little quieter or whatever. Where if John said, Kathy, can I hear you play the flute? I can play a silent flute really, really well, because that is, that I'm talking about pianissimo. I'm the queen of pianissimo over here. But in the time that I've been with the Charlotte Pride Band, that I have, through everyone's encouragement, that I have grown so much that I don't mind you hearing me now, but I'm still not really cool with it. But I'll actually play about mezzo piano now. So it's just a wonderful group.
Well, we are all works in progress.
But,
and I have to tell you, Kathy, that I remember very distinctly during my audition, you asked a question in the middle of my rehearsal. So what about people that haven't played for a while or are not the best players? Is there room in the band for them? And I looked at you and I said, absolutely. You're the reason, or they're the reason that this band exists. You remember that moment?
yeah. I will never forget that. Because the inclusivity of that group and the fact that you focused that right on me, I had that moment of, oh, geez. Okay, so is he going to be listening for me now? But no, yeah. You know all the bad notes I play, but it's, yeah, that's our little.
Every note you play with passion and you play with love. And I'm sure you sing it the same way.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It is so very true. But I'll go ahead and wrap this up, guys, tonight. But again, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
I've actually got a little montage I'm going to close the show with of all the reasons why that music is such a passion of mine. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm Realtor Kathy Smith with the Village Voice. And until next time, be good. See ya.